And we have Olayemi, I hope I'm saying that right, Olayemi Olurin, who is a public defender at NYC Legal Aid Society, a legal observer at New York City chapter of National Lawyers Guild. She is going to be joining us today. There she is. Let me tell you something. Hold on. This morning, I went to her page, right? And I saw that she was on BNC, the Black News Channel. And I said, oh, give us blonde, ma'am. Give us blonde. Okay. I live for it. I absolutely.
I'd be switching it out. I like the concept that they can't keep me out the court.
That's right. Okay. That's right. That's right, sis. I love it. I was like, okay.
They got to go with it.
Yes. Yes, they might look at you and be assuming, right? And then you come and you're like, I'm educated and this it doesn't matter, right?
Because people like to think you got to change it and you don't.
Exactly. Right. Because Karen over here and Sarah over here are rocking their reds and their purple highlights and whatever.
Or just looking rough and raggedy.
Rough. Yep. Unkept. But thank you so much for joining us here, Olayemi. Can you introduce yourself and let the people know who you are?
My name is Olayemi Olurin. Y'all could say Olay, make your life easy. I'm from the Bahamas originally. I moved to the U.S. in 2008, and now I am a lawyer here. I'm a public defender working to help Black and Brown people combat a racist injustice system.
Okay, girl. See, my Caribbean sister, I'm Haitian, you're Bahamian. We got that connection there. So you're an immigrant yourself, right? Yes. Let's just dive right into it. You're an immigrant yourself, and I did see a couple of tweets that you did put out saying, the legal immigration process here in America is super duper tough. And I know because, I'm a product of immigrants myself, and my parents, I got some family members who didn't have the opportunity to come here legally, but I do have my parents who came here legally, and even them getting their citizenship, even them getting papers, even them getting anything legal through the system took years. I'm talking like years, for one person a decade, just to be considered American or have citizenship or have papers, anything legal. So definitely speak about that process for you. I know you were tweeting about it the other day.
So my parents still live at home in the Bahamas. Actually, I'm the first person in my family to come to the U.S. and the only one for a while. My sisters ended up coming one by one. And I came because I wanted to be a lawyer in America. And I looked into the immigration system when I was like 14. I'm like, all right, if I get in the education system earlier, I get my degrees here, I'm in this community, then it'll be easier for me. I mean, probably easier. That was the right idea. I'm still present, but as far as being able to get citizenship or anything like that, that's still not an option. Still doesn't happen. So I'll be the first, and hopefully eventually I get it, but it just isn't a thing. And people tend to think after you're here for a while, you start to blend in, people think, oh, you're American too. They catch you on the right day. You code switching enough, they're like, oh no, they don't mean you should be straight. Like, I remember I was on 7 months unpaid immigration leave trying to get a visa that I ultimately was denied for. And I remember talking to my own friends. I tell them I'm an immigrant every day. This is the situation. I was talking about it all in law school. And people are just like, you'll be fine. You're a lawyer. They want people like you. They sure did deny me. I was like,
wow.
Yeah, I was blown away because, I did qualify. I applied for an EB-2 visa. It's for, an alien with an advanced degree, an outstanding person. I had every letter, reference, every, degrees, all these awards. And they were like, yeah, you have an advanced degree. Yeah, you're an outstanding alien. We give you that. They were like, you want to be a public defender, and that only benefits the poor, and that's not of interest to us. They straight up wrote it. They said the quiet part out loud. I was like,
wow.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt.
So you couldn't even be considered, an American to help do more work for the people that are here, people that look like you, people that may have issues, anything, because public defender is kind of like the low level.
Which is crazy because, the national interest waiver, what I had applied for, where you're able to apply for yourself, the whole idea is that it's something that is in the interest of the nation, right? I'm the only constitutionally court appointed lawyer. Public defenders are mandated by the Constitution. You would think that counts. Like the court has already decided. I was blown away. I'm like, wow, how's that possible? I live in New York City. I've gotten, 1,000+ people out of jail, and it's wild to really, really hear it and see it. I think to myself, okay, well, I went to school here. I got my high school degree here. I got my bachelor's degree here. I got my JD here. I'm admitted. I passed the bar here. I'm admitted to the state to practice in New York. I haven't lived in the Bahamas for 13 years. I have no degrees there. That's not where I'm at. But yet it really doesn't matter. You can't claim this as your home.
It's amazing that they just outright said this to you.
Yep.
Right. That they said that because of what you're doing, but had you put down there that you're going to be a corporate lawyer,
yeah,
you know, for like a major corporation or whatever, then it's very likely they would have approved you. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. If you could, the thing is, right, they want you, the other option was like, you can demonstrate this huge business plan where you plan on bringing America millions, but you literally can't do that. As an immigrant, I'm not allowed to make any money outside of my job. I can't do that. I can't start a business. I can't collect any money. I can't even start a YouTube paid for subscription. Like I cannot do it. So it's like, I've been here for 13 years being told I cannot make any money. I cannot have a business. Why would I have that plan? You know what I mean? They get you one way or the next. Is basically what it is. You can't, I did everything I was supposed to do. I planned it out 13 years in advance. Like I've been thinking about this since my teen years. It didn't pop up on me. So I'm like, I'm as prepared as I can be. So when that came up, I'm like, I really don't know what else I could possibly have. How could I have a business plan that I'm not allowed to have? I can't start a business there. I can't go get a loan. I can't do any of those things. So why would I have it?
So in your case by yourself, you show that immigration is not only a class issue because of how they have that thing so tangled up that you got to benefit the rich or you can't come, but it's also a black issue. Like this is an issue for us.
It is. No, immigration is a black problem. It just hasn't gotten framed that way, you know. And, you know, unfortunately, as a community, we have so many issues, you know what I mean, to tend to in terms of this country, in terms of the media cycle. So I see how it happened. But in actuality, despite how the media portrays it, most immigrants here are people who came documented. You know what I mean? They came documented and their visa overstayed. And a lot of immigrants are, in fact, Black people coming from Haiti, coming from the Caribbean, coming from Africa. And these are the places that don't have these immigration carve-outs. So it, in fact, really deeply is a Black issue. People just aren't thinking about you when they see you. Like, I tell people I'm an immigrant all day long, but that's not what they think of when they see me. You know, they remember, they know I'm Black, they know I'm tending to those issues. But as far as being an immigrant, no. And especially with America advertising itself as a melting pot so often, and everybody is, you know, my parent was an immigrant, and this is easy for people to think when you say immigrant, you mean, oh, your parents came here or your family's from here. And I mean, no, I'm from there. I came here. I'm not from this country.
Wow. I absolutely appreciate that story. And first of all, you're on both sides of it, right? You're fighting for people, their rights here in America, right? And they're telling you, I mean, that's low level and you're an immigrant. I mean, it's not really doing anything for us. So, and you can't monetize outside of that to even make it better for you, especially in this time where social media is popping for you to be monetizing on your work. They're just like, you don't deserve because you're an immigrant. Here in America, the melting pot, right? The one where we're supposed to come here as immigrants and say, you know, we've made it. This is where all immigrants can get their dreams to come true. This is the place. And it's like, it's really not, especially, you know, for you, to me, you said like, this is a true hardship that nobody really understands. If you're not an immigrant, or if you're not a product of immigrants, Black folks already got it hard. And like you said a key thing as well. They try to frame it as if immigration isn't a Black issue. And in reality, it is. Like here, if you're Black or brown, that is definitely an issue as an immigrant, because we don't see that with you know, the clear people, with the Europeans or whoever who's coming over here. They get to come here, things are easier for them. The hardships aren't relatable when it comes to them. But when it comes to the Black and brown immigrants, it is definitely really, really tough. So what are some things that you're doing now that are helping get this word out and help people understand what's really happening?
I think it's necessary to talk about it, right? Like in the 13 years I've been here, I've never really heard that story. I know it well as far as my friends, people I know. Like, I am not the only international student I know. I'm one of the few I know that are left still here. I have Bahamian friends who have been just as qualified and competent, came to America, couldn't stay. Even my own sister. I have a sister who went to undergrad, graduated with all the honors, 3 sisters. couldn't stay here, had to end up going back to the Bahamas. That's where she's in med school. So I know it well like that, but people don't know it. They don't really get to hear it, because the reality is immigrants aren't in the position to tell your story. You're either wrapped up in an immigration fight and you don't want to upset USCIS, right? So you're doing that, or you're out the country. It's only one way or the other. So you don't really get to put that narrative out there. And what happens is people think that the immigration, they think it's like, oh, just do it the right way. If you just do it the right way, just apply. They don't realize you can't apply. They haven't heard that, because the narrative is dominated by people that are intentionally trying to create this appearance that immigrants just don't want to be bothered. They just want to come here illegally. They just want to do it the wrong way. And you never get to hear from other people because they're not in the position to talk. But right now, what I'm just doing is talking, making noise, making sure they know.
So and I know we're talking about the legal immigration side of it, right? But we also have the illegal immigration side of it. And that is also tough, because people, they don't have an opportunity. They have a lot of the walls built, in front of them, where they can't even come to America. And then we have a woman who is our vice president, who's a product of immigrants herself, and who is telling folks, don't come.
That's how it goes. You'd be shocked how often you hear some insensitive immigration comment from someone you think would understand. That's why I plan to keep all my immigration letters to show my future children, they don't know what it is, so they're not saying things like that. But it's always been the case. The narrative is very insensitive. And even myself, right? Even with my own immigration narrative, I'm very privileged, right? I am still someone that was privileged enough to be able to qualify for a student visa to come here.
Yeah.
Like that's a picture of privilege. And my parents send me to this country, pay for boarding school. That's all very expensive. Just getting the visa, the amount of financial support my parents had to be able to show. So I'm very, very privileged in that. And I'm privileged to still be here. And that being said, I feel like I owe it to other immigrants like me and other immigrants that haven't been so fortunate and aren't able to be so fortunate. They didn't have the parents to pay for, school 10 years in advance, weren't able to do all of this. I need to talk about that, because there needs to be more routes for everybody. Because undocumented, they frame it as two separate immigration issues, and it's not. They're very, very intertwined. How you end up undocumented is because there were no paths for you to be documented. That's what happens, because if you build your life in a country, you've built your life there. Your community is there, your family, your friends are there, your ability to work, everything is there. And then they up and say, go. It's not that easy. And, it really isn't that simple. So I feel compelled to do that for other immigrants.
And we need more people like you, right? Because and I'm not saying that just for a pat on the back. I'm saying you're doing some work, even when they're trying to restrict you from like doing the work, because that's how they do it, right? They're saying, we gave you an opportunity to come to America and get some schooling. That's the crumbs. Grab that, and I'm glad that you haven't stopped there, because the more that you do the work will help somebody else, because this immigration issue isn't going to stop. This immigration conversation isn't anything new, but when we highlight it and make it and point out what it really is, and how the only, you said there, when it comes to immigration, when it comes to the legally documented and the undocumented, those are the same. They're both intertwined. I definitely agree with that. But when it comes to the Black and brown immigrants and the others, that's two separate things. That's two separate lanes. And that's, and the fact that you're educating people on that. And then you're the one, and I talked about this yesterday on our show. It's so good to hear it coming from somebody who is experiencing it. That is where it makes it, like, well, how do you know? Because you just said like, there are so many professionals or people that you wouldn't even think would be on the wrong side of the immigration conversation, but yet they are, right? And then here you are, who've experienced it, like, no, these are the issues, and this is what's happening, and this is just there's so much. That immigration conversation is so broad. It's so much going on. There's so many layers to it, but right here, this particular portion is about you, an immigrant who came here, and there's so much like you who come here for the opportunities and who are blessed, when in comparison to our immigrant brothers and sisters who don't get the opportunity, and then still told you can't get nothing else. It's not here for you.
Unless you're willing to not help the people.
And I can't do that. I can't do that. I might not have been aware of it when I first came to the country, but at some point in time, and I realized what I needed to be doing was helping people who look like me in a criminal system that disproportionately profiles, targets, arrests, and incarcerates them. It's just insufficient to me. For me personally, I can't be a Black attorney and not do things that I think are going to advance Black people. It's not going to work for me.
Come on, somebody.
Yeah, come on, somebody. You are a Black attorney. And that to me, I was saying yesterday, Black women, Black women, listen, ain't nobody gonna, they try to minimize it. When we say attorney, that's something big, right? Especially in the Caribbean community, you're an engineer, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're a nurse, and you have made it, okay? You are there and nobody can take that away from you, and you're doing the work. So what can we expect next from you during this journey for you?
Let me tell you, I'm just going to continue showing up in Queens every day. Every time there's somebody that needs me, I'm going to continue representing them. I'm going to continue advocating for them. And I'm going to continue saying the things that people are scared to say. I think the benefit to my career is this. I'm not from here, and I really have no ability to, like you said, I can't monetize certain things. All I really care about doing every day is fighting for people that need me to. So that's what I'm going to do every day in, day out. So I'll continue doing this.
Listen, for everybody who's watching, definitely let them know how to catch you, how to support you, because if anything, if we can't, if you can't monetize, I want people to push your work. And we'll hopefully, that pushes the coins your way, because you deserve, sis. So definitely plug in where people can find you.
Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter, any social media at Miss Olurin, MSOLURIN, and check out right now I'm publishing a series. I thought it was important that I amplify the voices of people actually in the criminal system. Too often we hear from judges and lawyers and people that actually experience it. If we want to know what's wrong with the criminal system, we should be talking to the people that are actually being impacted and caught up in it. So I'm publishing the stories of people that are formerly and currently incarcerated, 5 stories, one at a time. So look out for that.
Oh, we need that. We need clips of that. We want to play that on this show, because that's another important conversation. You see, Olay, you over here giving us a little bit more. See, I told you, Black women, that is a conversation we have to about people who have been incarcerated and how they're trying to come into the world and what their story is, because the assumption is that that's reform when they're incarcerated, right? And they push them out into the world and they don't even, how do they adjust? And
exactly.
Bring us that. We need those clips, girl.
I got you, and I'll send you the links. People like to talk too much for currently and formerly incarcerated people. There's this narrative that they're voiceless. They're not voiceless. I might, as a lawyer, it might be my job to speak for them in the courtroom because they don't speak the language, and it's the system, operates by forcing people to have to deal with the abuse silently in court. But outside of court, they have a voice. The only thing is people aren't listening. So I think people like me have an obligation to amplify their voice, and I didn't think it was sufficient for me to have a platform, where people think it's insightful to hear my little secondhand glances at the system. Well, why not hear it from the people who really know? Hear from them, hear from their family, their experiences. You're moved by my little testimony. You're looking at it in court, but go ask them. They got the real story. So I think it's important I share that.
Girl, okay, yeah, we're bringing you back. It's already done. It's already said and done. You're doing the work, and you're doing more work on top of the work. Not only in immigration for the incarcerated and formerly incarcerated. Girl, you on the streets. Your boots on the ground. It comes in many forms, and you are boots on the ground. Keep doing what you're doing. Make sure you guys follow Olay. And let's get her Twitter handle up on here, and your Instagram as well. You said, what were you put it up?
Sam, I'm Miss Olurin on everything.
Okay, perfect. And we're definitely going to get everybody to follow you in your work. Bring those clips on over, and we're going to have you back on the show. Promise.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day, girl.